There is a God. There's a God out there somewhere. I know you're pumped up, baby. Joe Judge is out. Let's ride. It's a party. It's a party here on Giants Now. Joe Judge, he's out. Get your sacks out of here. Recycle them because we care about the environment. We don't care about Joe Judge anymore. He is officially out as the New York Giants head coach. And it's surprising. It took John Mara or John Mara, however you call him, I don't care, sat down with Joe Judge for 2 days, and he finally came up with this decision. This is what he had to say. I said before the season started that I wanted to feel good about the direction we were headed when we played our last game of the season. Unfortunately, I cannot make that statement. And you're damn right, John Mara. This team is an embarrassment, and they damn sure didn't look good. I'm really excited. I'm pumped up about this. Joe Judge is officially out as the New York Giants head coach. And the Giants, they're going to hire a general manager first per John Mara, and then they will start their head coach search. We'll get into some potential Joe Judge replacements in a second, but I want to get you guys involved early on in the show. Let me know, what is your one-word reaction to Joe Judge getting fired? I know you guys are going to be real colorful and creative in the comments section. I can't wait to get down there and read it. For me, my one-word reaction is culture, because that's something Joe Judge has preached his entire tenure with the New York Giants, and I'm not sure what the culture is right now. There were reports coming out following Week 18 that half the locker room quit on him and half the locker room was in favor of bringing him back. Joe Judge, he always wanted you to measure him on the things that you couldn't put a value on, like culture or team chemistry, never on wins and losses. But one thing I will say, Joe Judge is not the only one to blame here. You can probably put 50%, 60% of the blame on Dave Gettleman, then another percent on the ownership, and then probably the rest falls on Joe Judge. You can only really coach who is on the roster, and Dave Gettleman, he didn't put the best product out there for Joe Judge to get the most out of those guys, but Joe Judge, he rarely ever got the best out of his players, and he was way too big on kicking field goals and punting, and that's something that New York Giants fans were tired of. New York Giants fans and Giants fans in general, they're winners. They're go-getters, and that's not what Joe Judge is. He's a coach that wanted to back into wins and fall into wins and try to get lucky. That's not what New Yorkers do. They go out and they claim what's theirs. Crazy enough to say it, we've been here before. This is the third head coach the New York Giants have fired after just 2 seasons. And Jay Glazer, he came out and reported that the reason that John Mara didn't want to fire Joe Judge is because he was tired of the revolving door at head coach. But I don't care what you do in the past. When you're looking at the future, you can't look back at your past mistakes. Joe Judge was clearly not the guy, and I'm happy that John Mara dropped his nuts and fired Joe Judge. Giants fans, I know you're pumped up. I am too. And this is why you subscribe, fellas. 2 videos today, one about potential Dave Gettleman replacements, and today, right now, we're breaking down Joe Judge being fired. And I'm trying to get to 4.5 thousand subscribers. We're just over 300 away. And if you're looking for a one-stop shop for Giants news and rumors all off season long, this is your channel. Just because the regular season's over, we're not going to shut our coverage down. We're going to ramp it up. So hit that big red button if you're looking for a Giants news and rumor channel on YouTube. Let's touch on what exactly happened in the Joe Judge tenure. He was fired after just 2 seasons. His first season, it actually, I would say, was above expectations. They finished 6-10. Daniel Jones missed 2 games. They beat the Seattle Seahawks with Colt McCoy, and they looked like a team that was picking up steam as the season ended. But it was a disappointing 2021 that led to a change. And once again, the New York Giants are the laughing stock of the NFL. And if there's anything we know about John Mara and Steve Tisch, they hate being embarrassed. And when you take QB sneaks on back-to-back 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 9 at the -5-yard line, that's embarrassing. And this team, as the season closed out, following the Daniel Jones injury, was embarrassing. Ian Rappaport, he put this tweet out today. He said this: the Giants owners met with Joe Judge for 2 days before making the decision of a full house cleaning at the New York Giants. And this is similar to what the Mara and Tisch family did with Tom Coughlin back in 2006. Following that season, they sat down with Tom Coughlin, and he had to map out a plan of the changes he was going to make. who he was going to bring in as offensive coordinator, who he was going to bring in at defensive coordinator, and how he was going to change his coaching style. I bet that was the same type of talks they had with Joe Judge, and it sounds like John Mara was not a fan of it. So Joe Judge, now he's out. But like I said just a second ago, 6-10 their first season. That was above expectations. There wasn't a lot of talent on the team. They started 1-7, and they finished the season really strong. This year, 4-13. They ended the season on a 6-game losing streak, and in all 6 of those games, those losses were all double digits. A 10-23 record saw Joe Judge lose his job. This team, it just took a step back this year. John Mara, he came out with a statement prior to the season that the Giants should compete for a playoff spot. They went all in. They selected Kadarius Toney in the first round. They signed Kenny Golladay to a massive contract. They added guys like John Ross. They built up this offense with playmakers. They signed Sterling Shepard to an extension. They did everything they thought they had to do to be a winner, and it just simply did not work out. I didn't expect this team to be a Super Bowl team. I thought maybe they can compete for that 7th wild card spot, but they were out of playoff contention by week 13. It was absolutely brutal. And I'm just pretty pumped up that Joe Judge is out. I know you are too. Josina Anderson, she broke the news, and she also added this tweet, which kind of just puts a cap on who Joe Judge is as a person, and it's pretty disappointing. This guy's a stiff. He's a loser. He said this: I'm told Judge's assistant sent a text. His assistant sent a text to coaches tonight relaying the news saying, I'm sorry to send this text, but Joe called me and said he was let go. If you're around tomorrow, be in the office at 9 a.m. and he will meet with his staff. Imagine having your assistant talk to your fellow co-workers or people that you're a boss of come in and have him or her relay the message. Joe Judge is a fraud, and I knew that once he started having this southern accent. Dude, you're from Philadelphia. Why do you have a southern accent when you speak to the fans? I never understood it, and I never really saw the upside with Joe Judge. I don't think he was fully the problem, but I never saw a guy that could be a part of the solution, and that's why he's out, and that's why the Giants will be looking for a 4th head coach in the past 6 seasons. Back to school, fellas. Be the judge. Probably the last time we'll say this because he's out of here. But grade the Joe Judge era. A, B, C, D, or F. If you want to give an F- or an F+, I know you guys are always creative in the comments. Do so, but let me know. Grade the Joe Judge era A, B, C, D, or F. This is a wild stat. Joe Judge is the first New York Giants football coach to lose 13 games in a season. I understand there was one extra game this season, but that's not an excuse. The Giants, this is some of the worst football I've ever seen as a Giants fan in my life. And the Giants, they started 1-7 under Joe Judge, which was expected. They came into last season with a team that didn't have a lot of talent on the roster. But they finished the season strong and finished 6-10 and had some big wins down the stretch. But when you start 1-7 and then this year you end on a 1-7 streak, you have to have some sort of, something you can build on, something you can have this fan stick to and say that you're the guy. Not have an 11-minute unanswered press conference question where you just speak about the culture and how guys left last year and signed for more money and wish that they would have stayed. Joe Judge is a liar, he's a fraud, and he's a phony, and I'm glad he's out. Adam Schefter, he tweeted this back in December, the day after Christmas. The New York Giants plan to bring back head coach and QB Daniel Jones for the 2022 NFL season. Since that tweet, prior to Week 16 when they played the Philadelphia Eagles, in the last 3 games, the Giants were outscored 85-20. An absolute embarrassment. John Mara finally made a strong decision in canning Joe Judge. But who's going to be the guy to replace Joe Judge? Tomorrow we'll have Joe Judge replacements out for you guys, but here are some names that I'm hearing that are at the top of many teams' head coaches search. Jim Harbaugh, he's my #1 candidate. You identify Jim Harbaugh and you give him a blank check and you say whatever you want and whatever we have to do to make you the next coach, you do that. I also like Doug Peterson, someone that's won at the highest level, a Super Bowl winning coach, and he got a lot out of Carson Wentz. We see what Carson Wentz is with the Indianapolis Colts, but he got a lot out of him. He's not afraid of the big games, and he likes to put his nuts on the table like he did in the Super Bowl against Bill Belichick. I also like Josh McDaniels. He has coached the New England Patriots for a very long time, and they are consistently one of the best offenses, and he got a lot out of Mac Jones. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, I like him. He's a young guy. guy, a young mind. He has new philosophies. He's a creative offensive coordinator. And I think Tom Downey, our Cowboys report host, he tweeted me that 22 different Cowboys scored a touchdown this year. The Giants scored 22 touchdowns in total. I like what Kellen Moore has done with the Cowboys offense this year. And I also like Byron Leftwich. My only drawback with Leftwich would be that he coaches Tom Brady. And I don't know how much I really want a guy that's dependent on Tom Brady. I'm really looking for a guy that's been a head coach before, like Jim Caldwell. I know a lot of people are like, Jim Caldwell, are you serious? Yeah, well, he had an above 500 record with the Detroit Lions, and he should probably be in the Hall of Fame for that. What he did with the Lions is very impressive, and he also was a strong offensive play caller for the Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning was there. I also like Brian Daboll, the current offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. The one thing that scares me about him is the lack of ability that they have to run the football, but he has got the absolute most out of Josh Allen, and I would credit Brian Daboll with the leap that Josh Allen took. Dan Quinn, he's a strong defensive coordinator. He did get the Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl. He turned around the Dallas Cowboys defense. He's a candidate to keep in mind. And then an internal option, Patrick Graham. He is currently the defensive coordinator for the Giants, but he's gone on record and say he is best friends with Joe Judge, and he only had this job because of Joe Judge. So we'll see what happens there. I think he will be interviewed, something to definitely monitor. But the New York Giants, they can't afford to miss here. You can't hire a fourth head coach in 6 seasons and he not be the guy. Go out and get a coach that's won in the NFL, that's proven he is a good coach, someone that's won at the highest level like Doug Peterson, someone that's won a Super Bowl. I'm tired of these experimental guys like Ben McAdoo or Joe Judge or Pat Shurmur. Get someone that's proven that they can win in the National Football League. But make the call. Get in the comment section and let me know. Who should the Giants hire as their next head coach? This is something that I think will take a couple of weeks. John Mara already talked about how he wants to hire a general manager before they go out and get a head coach, so it may be a little while. But I want to know what you have to say. Who should the Giants hire as their next head coach? I want to remind you guys to subscribe because tomorrow we're going to be putting out Joe Judge replacements. I know that video is going to be hot. Let's ride. Hit that big red button. Nobody does what we do here at Chat Sports. New York Giants now is growing like crazy. And like I said, Joe Judge replacements is gone, so get all your brown sacks and throw them out because it's a party here. If you're a Giants fan, this has got to be one of the best days in recent memory as a Giants fan. I'm happy that everyone's watched this video, and I want to thank everybody that subscribed during the season because we can't do stuff like this without you guys. And hit me up on Twitter. I will follow every single person that follows me from this video, so send me a DM and let me know that you came from this video at @MarshallGreen_.